Once again, it's time for one of my favorite things we do on this show. It's called What's Your Business? Steve Sardone is in our virtual green room, so to speak. He has actually a funny story to tell us in a second here. And he's got his own construction company. I'm so fascinated by the construction world. And what we're seeing now is, especially in the housing market, a lot of people are remodeling and trying to figure out what rooms they want to remodel, sometimes because they're moving and they want to sell, sometimes they just want to remodel. They want to do something to freshen up where their crib, where they're living. And we thought it'd be fun to have him on the show to talk about that. So, Steve, before we dive into this, you got to tell everyone this story, because I can't tell you how many encounters I have had of the wildest kind at what they call the Genius Bar in the Apple world. And you just were at the Genius Bar, right? Something happened to your phone?
Yeah, I was sitting out in the yard Saturday night, and I set the phone down, and I went in, and I left it by accident, and it rained all night. And I figured, what the heck, I'll just spend 2 or 3 days without a phone. Who cares? and so I go today, and they're like, yeah, it's just like still draining water 3 days later. And as they're setting up the last couple settings, you start calling. Like, literally, in the last second, you called, and I'm like, I don't know anybody at that number. And you call again, and I'm like, I know somebody who's calling me right now. I need to take this and leave. I'll set the phone up later.
Well, we're glad that you took the call, and you can go back and set that up. And they say there's a trick to that. But you had it out there too long. If you had the phone in water, or sometimes people jump in a pool, or they do what you did, leave it outside. You throw it in a bowl, a giant bowl of rice, and sometimes you can recoup it that way. But I think you have to get it right in the very beginning. So you did the smart thing by going without the phone and then running to the Genius Bar. So let's talk about the remodeling market. That's really hot right now, isn't it?
Yes, it's really as hot as it could be right now. It's a very exciting time to be in the remodeling market.
Yeah, is it because of the reasons I said? Sometimes people, like in Texas, for example, of course, the housing market is really good, so some people are putting their houses up for sale. So is it for remodeling purposes, just to remodel the house and feel good about something you always wanted to fix, or is it because we want to sell the house, or is it, like I said, a combination of both?
Right now I'm hearing stories that I've really never heard. It's a very unique time. People are out of the recession mentally in Dallas, in Texas, finally, right?
Right.
And so they're more stable in their jobs. They're more stable with what's going on in their lives financially, growing families, shrinking families, what have you. And they are thinking, okay, now's the time I move, right? This is that time. And what they're learning is it's more expensive to move than to remodel. And so not only do we have like the normal influx of people wanting to remodel, now we also have this second group of people who were not considering remodeling. They were just going to move to suit their new needs. And because of the prices on new construction and remodeling versus someone else's home, they're realizing that they can get way more custom to remodel what they have and be much happier along the way versus spend all that money and buy somebody else's home and it really still not be their own. And it's a very unique time.
Yeah, boy, it completely makes sense to me. So when you go to remodel rooms, what do you get the most bang for your buck on as far as the return on that investment when you go to sell? Is it the kitchen? Is it these great rooms that people still want?
Yeah. I think each home is different, and each home has its own unique set of problems, and each group of people who live in that home have different needs. I think so. Like, return on investment, if we're strictly talking cash, if you are able to lighten up that house with a really nice coat of paint inside and out, and then also change out the lighting to something nice, this is going to be the cheapest money you spend, and you're going to get the most investment, the biggest return for it, the biggest appeal and dramatic turnaround. On the other hand, it's going to be the old adage of it takes money to make money, and that's going to be your bathrooms and your kitchens. These are going to be your most expensive rooms in the house to remodel. However, on the other hand, they're also going to give you the greatest return as well.
Yeah, so that's something to look for. So as people are listening to you, not just in the great state of Texas and in and around Dallas and all those other nooks and crannies, if they're listening and they decide, yeah, they want to remodel, and, it's really funny with construction. I think hopefully word of mouth and someone you trust and someone who has done a great job, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you move, you don't know people, and a lot of times I think there's this misconception, because I've seen some really bungled jobs, that people have this in their mind to go with the lowest bid, but that's not always the right way to go, is it?
I think nobody ever goes with the lowest bid in any other walk of life outside of the government and expects it to work out really well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're looking on Yelp and you got 10 Chinese restaurants and they all have great reviews, but you got this one Chinese restaurant with 1 star and $1 sign. And you think, we're going to gamble and see how this turns out. But people take the biggest investment in their life. They spend $100,000+, and they kind of go for that 1 star, $1 sign review and hope that it turns out. It's a crazy thing. And now I think whether you're new in town or you've been there 100 years, you do want referrals. You do want recommendations. And if you can't get those, you want to meet the team. Who's designing? Who's engineering? Who's building? Who do you want to do business with for 6 months to a year? Your gut is going to be a great indicator. Don't let a couple points, be the thing that helps you make a decision that really ruins, what could be a very enjoyable process and a very nice project at the end of the day.
Boy, I so agree.
There's a lot of ways to think through that.
Yeah, I agree. You want it to be a nice project, and you're going to be with the people for a long time. I bet there's one thing about your line of work that's really interesting to me. People can't get it fast enough, can they? Are they always asking you, when can you expect that done? When's that project supposed to be done? Well, they told us it was going to be done in 5 seconds. I mean, seriously, you're like the timekeeper, the time guy, right?
Yes. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said, when I ask, when do you want this done? They all say ASAP. And then we have to go back and say, okay, now, seriously, you can have it done, right, or you can have it done quick. You decide. I can only do right. You're going to have to hire somebody else to get it done quick. And it's an art. It's your home. It's the thing that people live in and enjoy and spend a lot of time in. And I just have to coach people and say, look, this has to be done right. This is a serious investment. You're investing not only in your home but in your family. Let's just take the time to make sure this is done right and get it done. And then throughout the project, and we even show them, like, look, you're going to be very upset and unhappy and sad when we sand all the sheetrock because it's going to look like a snowstorm here. But then it's going to get better. And, managing expectations and the time and the budget and the emotions is an ongoing process.
Is there one, because you've done so many projects, I'm certain of it, is there one particular project that you did that you were like, wow, this is my Picasso moment. This is the best thing that I've ever done. Do you have one of those?
Yeah, we did a couple of projects. One this year in particular we did for an architect friend of mine. And we really just were able to maximize the space well. They really wanted the siding on the exterior of the house that was going to be wood or hardyback or whatever to be actually a burned cypress. So what we did was we took a huge blowtorch, we laid out all the cypress, and we lightly toasted it, and then we stained it like a dark green. And all the veins and the green came out, and we lined that around the house in kind of a vertical pattern, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And we didn't make any money on the siding, but we were very happy with the outcome.
I bet the architect friend was happy with that.
They were so thrilled. They were so happy.
Yeah, and I always ask everybody this question because I do think you're in a really cool field. I can see the parts that would be really exciting, and I could see what some of the frustrations would be. But what sent you into construction? What was it?
Well, I think there's two answers to that. One was I got a job in college over the summer, and they said, if you help us out fixing up this building, we'll give you room and board. And me and all my buddies did that, and that was like, oh, yeah, this is great. And then it just kind of kept going. I went to graduate school, and I kind of I started my own company. It kept evolving. It kept growing. It kept turning into, bathrooms and kitchens and whole houses. And then it got to a point where I wasn't as excited about design and construction anymore. And what was exciting to me was helping people and helping people figure out how to improve their life. And by that, I mean, like, how do I connect this family with their kids? So the parents come home, they're tired, someone's cooking, someone's working, someone's entertaining the kids are trying to do some homework, and they're all in separate rooms, and we're trying to figure out a design that'll help them all bring together for those precious few hours at night they have.
Right.
And it's things like that. It's couples who love to entertain. They love to have their friends over, but they're embarrassed by their home, and they don't have people over, and they don't want to have Thanksgiving at their house because they're embarrassed, or the kids don't want to have their friends over because there's not a good place for them to hang out. And it's stories like that that really get me excited about what we're doing and how we can help people.
I love it. That's great. Now I think you have just enough time to get back to that Genius Bar. Steve Sardone, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks. Bye-bye.